Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the channel. Today we're giving a report card, early season report card to the North Carolina Courage, and this is the longer version. The short version is in a link below if you want to check that out instead of listening to me drone on and on. But it might help you put you to sleep at night. So anyway, where are we with the Courage? Well, they only get a C plus right now, and I'll tell you why. And you can see the talent, and there's some potential, and a couple players are doing really well, but they're just not consistent. They're not forceful enough when they need to finish a game. Yes, they got a win against Racing in the first game of the season at 2-1, but it's Racing who is yet to win. And then the 0-0 draw against Gotham you can take two ways, because on one hand, it's good to get a shutout against Gotham, but Gotham's having their own offensive attack problems. And you could say, well, at least we didn't lose. So, they're 1-1 at that point, but then they get hit hard by Bay FC, tag for 3 goals, lose 3-1. And then get a draw against Portland at 2-2, where Manaka and Sanchez scored. Sanchez has 3 or 4 goals already for the season, so that part's good. And there's no shame in getting a draw against Thorns, because Thorns are tough to play against right now. And they're doing super well, and they're very structured, and they're not just potential. They're trying to light it up. So, So what's the overall problem with Carolina? Well, there's going to be multiple facets, and the reality is they just don't look settled yet. And they have a new coach, okay? Macklin is the new coach, so it's a team in transition again, and that's always a problem when you have so much turnover. And North Carolina has really gone through it the last couple of years, so much so that it's kind of annoying. You don't even know what they're trying to accomplish. I cannot believe for the life of me that they traded Jaden Shaw or sold Jaden Shaw last year. That's just, let's cut our own throat and be done with it type of thing. Then again, the Spirit let Ashley Sanchez go to the Courage, and I'll never forgive him for that because, well, to be fair, Spirit tried to ruin Sanchez, and I love the Spirit, but I don't know what the thought process was there, because I have a lot of time for Ashley Sanchez, and you're nuts if you don't build something around her, instead of trying to hammer her into a square, square peg, round hole type of situation. But that's neither here nor there for the overall way that the Carolina is going right now. So they're good enough to scare some teams right now, even playing the way they are at this, C plus status, but not enough that you're like, well, I got to uproot the whole week and spend every minute on trying to find a way to beat them, because they can still beat themselves as they're showing. And, the coaching change again means new coach, new timing, new structures, new ideas, maybe new strategies, before you even get to tactics. Maybe they're rehauling everything. I think a lot of the announcers or commentators, when they're talking about Courage, are talking out their butts and not talking about the reality that's happening on the field or off the field even with them. It's a lot of just filler in there. But, they lost O'Sullivan, which was a big loss, and they lost Casey Murphy. God, I forgot where Murphy went. But, those were part of, I guess, what I would say the fabric of the team. So, or you're part of the locker room culture. Those are big losses besides field. That's a presence, a mental and physical presence in the locker room that's hard to replace. And they've brought in, a lot of players. I think their turnover was at least 7 new players. And let's see, Sheridan, though, is doing pretty well for them, and she had just come in. Wakenheiser, as well, is doing well. And I don't know where I can't really make a judgment on some of the other newer ones, especially the younger ones. But the real big positive for me has got to be Ashley Sanchez, because she is really humming. And like I said, she looks happy. And when Ashley is happy, good things happen. Also, sometimes good things happen when she's angry too. So that's another situation. And that's what Spirit was trying to do, was take away her bite. And that just pissed me off. And I was still angry that she didn't get minutes in the World Cup, because Andrzejowski screwed that pooch really hard, leaving, trying to do whatever was going on at the time, triple espresso or something. But the fact is, if you're not producing at the World Cup, it's a tournament. Get someone on the field that can produce. And yes, I'm ranting about a cup that's 3.5 years ago or 3 years ago at this point, but I'm still angry about it. So their concern, though, is really this. I think that, Manaka is also stepping up, so that's also very positive. So the concern is really simple. Can this team actually control games well enough to get to the end where they finish those games? And right now it's been very choppy. So I don't see them right now still being in the top 6. I think they'll be flirting with the last playoff spots if they continue this trend. And to be honest, even with the new coach, I don't see that much strategic changes, and which I'm not saying is a good thing either, because they weren't all that hot in the last year and stuff. But this is Carolina. How many championships do they have? They have the pedigree within the, I guess you would call it the franchise or something, but that doesn't mean jack, because it's always about what can you do this season. It doesn't matter if you have 19 trophies the previous year. If you suck this year, you suck. That's the way it goes, and you may not get that. So memories and nostalgia and all that stuff's great, but it actually has no bearing on a week-to-week thing in a current season, except to remind people that this is the standard we're at, but it doesn't mean you're just going to automatically get that. So the attack gets a B- right now. There's flashes. Sanchez is carrying a lot of the load, even if she's not scoring, and I think she has an assist or two as well. But you have to think that there's some better days ahead, that they need more, goals and stuff. Midfield gets a C. They need more control, more command, more rhythm. Actually, I would say the rhythm. Their timing is very much off at times in the midfield. And then their spacing, their connections between the defenders and the attack, it's just off. If you've watched the games, you know what I'm talking about. They're just a lot of times a step short, including like in their press. Like when they have the rest defense, they've transitioned or even countered, and then they lose the ball. Everything's just off by a step, and that's costing them bad. Defense, I'm giving them a C too. Just very shaky at this point for a team that has bigger aspirations than what they're producing. Giving up 3 to Bay and 2 to Portland, it keeps the grade down at this point. But shutout against Gotham, you could say, wow, that's great. Gotham's not scoring for crap though either. So now your start looks a little bit shakier, because you got a 2-1 win against a team that hasn't won, and that's your only victory. Okay, so that's why we're in this average race. So overall, C+, like I said. Not a disaster, but definitely not a contender. A definite work in progress. And God, I hate saying that about teams, because no team wants to be called a work in progress over and over and over. So it's a team with real upside, but my real take right now is they're one of those teams that could look a lot better by midseason, or they may just fade away if they don't get their act together, because Sanchez is not going to be able to carry this team on her own for the entire season. Other players are going to need to step up and prove that this team deserves to be in the top 6 and really, get their stuff off the ground. Because in the NWSL, your history doesn't matter, and it doesn't get you points. But what does get you points is finishing your chances, but they need to create more chances. To get those chances, they need to exert more control in the midfield, dominate more. Their possession probably total needs to be go up, because they're not a really good counter team. So they're not going to get many goals from there. And right now, I'm not too impressed with their set piece situation. But they've shown some quality, and they're good enough that I look forward to tuning into them, and I hope that they'll do better. So we'll see what happens after the international break. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Please consider liking and subscribe if you will. It really, maybe liking this video or letting it put you to sleep, whatever it works for you. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.